Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of Frail Conversations. Now, as you've seen from the title, today we're going to be talking about catty, argumentative men. All right. I want to have this conversation because lately, right, it's been like motherfuckers, I would point that out, like, bro, you want some catty, argumentative shit. And a lot of motherfuckers misinterpret what the fuck I'm talking about. One, because they hear me say the concept or they read the concept of shit and they haven't read the concept where it comes from. So, I mean, motherfuckers like, yo, where you get this shit from? I tell them straight up, I got it from So Frail too and shit. And they be like, you know, like on what grounds do I have to stand or whatever? I said the grounds that I'm watching this shit play out in motion, nigga, the fuck. But the reason why I want to have this episode for real, is because when I look at the catty argumentative man, right? These are the type of men who quote unquote go back and forth with women. And when I say that, a lot of people have a stigmatized perspective of it as if, he comes off as he's supposed to come off as flamboyant and high pitched, shrill voices, lots of clapping, neck rolling, all of that shit. Yes, that is a party catty argumentative men. There are men who do that shit. Then there's another level of catty argumentative men who do absolutely none of that shit. You feel me? They still argue with women and go back and forth with women, but it's in a different context. You feel me? Yeah, they may put more bass in their voices, more domineering and shit like that, but it carries the same energy. Just because it's embodied a different way, it carries the same energy. But I'm of course going to be expressing all of that because I feel like one, as men, if we don't understand our true masculine essence, we all gonna have catty argumentative moments. I had catty argumentative moments. I have catty argumentative moments that I gotta still catch because of the programming that has already been established from the time I was a kid. You feel what I'm saying? They say a child's personality is developed by the time they're 6 years old. You dig what I'm saying? And being raised just by my mother, she had a heavy influence on a lot of my mannerisms, right? But one thing that my mom would do if like I was, you know, appearing to behave like a girl or a woman or whatever the case may be, she would correct that shit. But there would be things that I'm doing that were in that vein of, toxic femininity or whatever, that is that I would still do that were still like boyish ways. That's like, okay, a boy can do some shit like that. But then when I started to understand the essence, I was like, nah, this ain't right. And this is also going to be largely why a lot of people, So Frail too is called toxic femininity, because a lot of people think toxic femininity is exclusive to women. No, actually, men embody toxic femininity in a larger rate than women do. You feel what I'm saying? Because we think, again, because we relegate femininity and masculinity to, what the gender expresses, how the gender expresses itself. It's like, nah, not the essence that the gender is, and uses a certain proclivity for life to make their life a reality. You dig what I'm saying? So because we don't see that aspect, when we see it actually show up as toxic femininity, we don't see what it is. To be toxically feminine means that you're a destroyer. You promote destruction, right? Naturally, when we look at the oppositions of each other, women are the creatresses, they are the creative force, right? Men are the deconstructive force. But when you toxic feminine, you become destructive. That's why I was very, very specific on using those two different words in So Frail 1, where I was telling people deconstruction and destruction is not the same thing, right? Deconstruction can be reconstituted. Destruction, there's nothing left to remake anything, right? So when we look at how toxic femininity plays out within men, it's because we default that and we take that on simply because we know that we're exhibiting women's behavior and we're making it quote unquote manly. You feel me? It's not masculine, but we're making it manly. So as long as we do toxic feminine shit, it's okay. Now, this also ties into bigger aspects itself because it's like women are who we spend our time with the most, whether the father is present or absent, because that's the way the society has been structured. You know what I'm saying? But it has been structured in such a way where it doesn't teach men to be actually masculine. It teaches them to be toxic feminine from a pseudo illusory perspective where it appears like that's what you're supposed to be doing. So you feel me? That's why we get to the points where we can exhibit the only three emotions that give us the pass are anger, rage, and aggression. Those are all toxic feminine emotions because they destroy shit. You dig what I'm saying? Ultimately allowing us to be the catty, argumentative men and the emotionally unavailable. But for this particular one, catty, argumentative, because I get tired of like y'all. I'm watching like y'all motherfuckers really fucking up the podcast space, bro. And as a motherfucker who got some shit to say, I'm gonna vent a little bit because as a motherfucker who got some shit to say, y'all fucking it up. As soon as I drop some shit, motherfuckers, oh, here he go. He about to like, no, I ain't coming at my sisters, bro. I mean, I give a fuck about my sisters, but I don't give a fuck in that regard where I have to, but I got so much shit to talk about. All y'all niggas talk about is, you know what? I got a jam session coming on that. So don't even trip. Don't even trip, right? But anywho, I'm gonna take a quick break. We're gonna take a quick break. But before we dive heavy into this episode, because I already spilled myself going into it. Before we dive into this episode, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_scene_. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSeen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, sponsor to the podcast, you are greatly, greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of your podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. And as always, Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And with that being said, we're gonna take a quick. I said it wrong. That's that for this, and that's this for that. So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna dive into So Frail Conversations, the catty argumentative man. And don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things just seen. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Scene about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right. Welcome back. Yeah. So without further ado, we're gonna pick back up and get straight heavy into it. So you feel me? Catty argumentative men, right? We first off, let's set the tone for toxic femininity, right? Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Largely, what a lot of us experience as quote unquote manly is really some toxic feminine shit, right? Masculinity is about analysis and deconstruction. You feel me? Femininity is about synthesis and construction. When we adopt femininity, this is how we play the world out. We try to make everything men and women what's qualified as polar opposites to say, oh, this is man shit, this is woman shit. So when you express yourself as a woman, you feel me, or as a feminine energy, right, it has to have the duality of you're acting like a woman or whatever the case may be. The reason why toxic femininity is so ingrained in us because we exhibit our feminine energy off rip, but we have to make it opposite to the woman's feminine energy because we're not using masculine energy for real. So by default, we're using toxic femininity. And this is what leads to destruction. So the quote unquote people that are running the world, the men that are running the world, they are toxically feminine men. Hear me well, they are toxically feminine men. This is why their only objective is to stir shit up, disrupt shit, and destroy shit. You feel me? All of the quote unquote powers that be, which is crazy as hell because it's like these are quote unquote the marks of men. But it is because, but I'm gonna show you how deep, before I say that because part, I'm gonna show you how deep toxic femininity runs, right? It is toxic femininity that has been running since religious inceptions. The quote unquote Abrahamic religions, the big three, the religions that we follow, they're all Abrahamic religions, but they're all religions that theme around men being the head of shit, but it's toxic femininity. Toxic femininity. I can go on for days. I'm gonna tell you, I'm going for days about the different pieces of the quote unquote men that are supposed to be whatever, but they're toxic feminine men. And those are the focal points of the martyrs or the you know what I'm saying, or legends or the people that we look at. So in real time, when we look at toxic femininity, we have to accept that, you have different dualities, you have different expressions of it. But for the most part, it is about destruction in some way, shape, or form. The deities that we serve largely are toxic feminine deities. They're overly emotional. They destroy when they don't get their way. They throw tantrums, act like children and shit like that. And, shit like that happens. But the reason why I'm saying that is because through that inception is where you get the conceptualization that women need to submit to men, right? Because what we have to look at is not that it's a woman submitting to a man, it's a feminine energy submitting to another feminine energy. The two can't coincide. This is what I tell motherfuckers. When you are truly in tune with your masculine essence, by default, you unleash a woman. So when I tell women, they try to argue with me a little bit. And I know I get it because it's a lot of it is largely into the programming. Like when you look at, school, religion, all of that shit, it's like women submit to men. And I be telling women, y'all don't actually submit to men. And this don't just be me trying to hype women up. And this is why we're having this catty argumentative conversation, because this isn't me simping or trying to hype women up. This is experience. This is how I be knowing y'all niggas really don't be fucking with women the way y'all think y'all fucking with them. Y'all masturbate with vaginas. And then you behave well enough to be able to masturbate with the vagina. But you never get to a point where you truly understand women. I have not met a woman in my life. Now, this is 100%. 100%. I've been around the world. Not around the world, for real. But I mean, I've been around the block as far as the women that I've dealt with. So you feel me? I don't pride myself on my whole phases, but I'm not ashamed of them either because of what they fucking taught me. Every single woman that I fucked with, the reason why I was able to fuck with them the right way, the reason I unleashed them and didn't know it because I had a masculine essence didn't need to extinguish theirs in order for my shit to shine. You feel me? A lot of times what we think is emasculation ain't really emasculation. It is a battle between, no, it's not emasculation. It is the inability to express your toxic femininity because you're not supposed to express that shit anyway. So we be thinking we emasculate. Oh, this person won't. No, to emasculate a motherfucker for real, is to eliminate their capacity to analyze and deconstruct the world. Our masculine, we been emasculated like a motherfucker. It ain't got shit to do with acting like we have lost our inability to analyze and deconstruct the world simply because we are in an education system that teaches according to femininity. This is why you remember shit. This is why it's hard to actually use the faculties of your mind. So instead, you embrace toxic femininity. Well, femininity as a whole, but then when we come into manliness, that becomes toxic femininity. Right. And again, like I said, that I'm basing that off of the strength that not just some speculative shit that I read, but in my own personal studies and then understanding my experiences with women and experiences that I still have. It's like, that's why women fuck with me like that because I unleash them. But then that's because I put down the toxic feminine side because they have to submit to me when that is my energy. Because it's like, no, we can't both be in this space. You have to be beneath me. So one of two things has to happen. The women can't go like this is why a lot of women are single and shit. Because the women can't go to a certain point. But for us as men, this is why we end up settling with this is why we either go for younger women, because they're not even docile and shit, or we get with a broken, damaged woman who's our age or whatever the case may be, or we get with a cougar who's not into relationships at all, who can let us have free reign or whatever the case may be. But we never get with anybody we can unleash. We rarely fuck with somebody that we can unleash because it requires us to analyze and deconstruct the world in order for that being to be released. You feel what I'm saying? So the reason why I say for 100% of the women that I've been with, like seriously, if I took you seriously, like, you feel me? I know you'll never know if I took you serious or not, but if I took you seriously, your life got better. I analyze and I use my analysis, deconstructed faculties to build shit out. You never had to submit to me. It's like, no. Now, because of that, it also means that within that masculine structure, I bring her feminine structure out more. Now, that is where it gets crazy because when women are used to submitting to men that are toxic feminine, it's hard for them to get involved with an actual masculine man. For one, it's hard to see what a masculine man is because it's different. Oh, I'm not. Yes, you're not going to be used to a masculine man, a truly masculine man, if all you fucked with is toxic feminine people. You dig what I'm saying? But when we take this on, right? When we take this energy on, now we're in a system where this creates the reality for us. So when I say it's not, I don't, this isn't me saying, oh, we got to blame our single mothers or we got to blame the mothers. Oh, no, this entire system is built on toxic femininity. You can't escape it. You're gonna be in those spaces where you're going to adopt the behavior because it becomes habitual, right? I always say a quote. It fits here, but it's a bigger scale. I said the only thing more racist than the white man is the womb in which he comes from. You feel me? We talk about the white men who are the cops. You know what I'm saying? The lawyers, the people that are in justice system that fucking us up. Who raised them? Somebody had to prepare them mentally because if the men are at work, the women have to raise the babies. But if they're raising the babies to become the men who work, come on, y'all, it's not rocket science. Toxic femininity. A lot of times when it comes to oppression, we blame main, the white woman is far better at oppression than a white man. We just don't know it. The reason why the white woman is going to be far more better at oppression than a white man is because the entire system is built off femininity, the predisposition for women. And then because it's a manly thing, it's toxic femininity. This is why we're at the point now where motherfuckers literally destroying themselves. And we got pulled into the bullshit through integration or whatever the case may be. These motherfuckers are having identity crises and are on the endangered species list, and they're going fucking crazy. And they're bringing us into this shit. We just following along. But anywho, that's where the original battle is. You feel me? That's where the original battle is. The men are out of the home working or whatever, but they have been raised to be what the mother ultimately wanted them to be, not the father. And that's the subtle trick of this shit. Because we look at how, oh, it's the white man won't let me have this. You complain about the white man as you fuck the white woman. And the white woman is worse. The racist white woman is worse. There's no ifs, ands, and maybes about it. In my opinion, I feel like all white people are racist. I'm always gonna feel like that. You feel me? You're racist. If I got to be guilty until proven innocent, y'all niggas is racist until proven anything else. And the sole fact that's different. This is so for a conversation. I'm setting my scene. So when we look at toxic femininity, it's everywhere we go. It's everywhere we go. So where our schools are run by women. Yeah, you may have a male principal, whatever the case may be, but the teachers and shit like that, they're run by women. Even if they say, "Oh, we need some male representation," the male representation means absolutely nothing if there's no masculinity attached to it. It's just not. It's just not. Masculinity is really so powerful that it needs not to speak. When you say, you got to assert that masculinity has when it starts yelling, it's not there anymore. Because you're not analyzing and deconstructing, you're combating an enemy in your in your position to dominate and destroy that conversation. Not analyze and deconstruct this conversation to where it's like, okay, we neutralize this whole motherfucker, ain't no argument. You feel me? Now it's a matter of what I feel. Like this whole alphabet people movement shit like that, all of that's rooted in toxic femininity. All of that is rooted in toxic femininity. You feel me? It is a mental aspect in which you spiritually, mentally, and physically analyze, synthesize, and construct the world, but because it's toxic, it's now destructive. A lot of the shit that they do is rooted in destructive shit. People don't even get it. Like destructive shit. But that's not here nor there because that is this is why everything they express is, oh, this is what you feel. They always talk about feelings over facts, but that's not here nor there because that ties in to the theme of what we're talking about. The toxic feminine, catty argumentative man. You feel what I'm saying? Catty argumentative man and masculinity don't go together because it doesn't have to be catty and argumentative, right? But the shit is developed not because you're acting like a woman, but because in which you speak is a form of destruction. Like, you feel what I'm saying? A lot of times when I say, yo, men is acting toxically feminine, they be like, nah, bro, I don't be snapping and neck rolling. You ain't got to, bro. You ain't got to. You might punch your fist and say, bitch out. Feel me? You don't necessarily have to yes and do that shit too. You feel me? You can do the you can do an actual male version of the shit, which we do, which we fucking do. And we argue in the same way. So we pick up these tendencies From where? The women in our environment, our mothers. This was strategically done because a lot of people didn't pay attention to, oh, the strong, independent woman and shit like that. All right, cool. We passed that narrative and shit. We could be on the women doing this, women doing that. The issue is you shifted our energy. They shifted our energy and control it. So we become the catty argumentative man, and it creates several branches of what that shit evolves into. You feel me? So now, when what we define as masculine, in air quotes, what is masculine is really what's manly. And it is when you put the toxic feminine energy on a man and then you decorate it in such a way of this is for men. You feel me? But they're able to fuck you up and manipulate you off that strength because we're going to say you're exhibiting a predisposition that women are supposed to have and you're going to make it a man. You feel me? This is why they're able to. This is why a lot of the motherfuckers like that mentality, it carries on to different actions. These transgender people who are beating the women in these races and shit, they sucked as men. So they think they can be women. You feel me? And they sign the laws and shit, but they can't flip it the other way. Can't no woman play in a man's sport. I don't give a fuck how much testosterone she take. You feel what I'm saying? But this is a part of that catty argumentative shit because the arguments make no fucking sense. This is how this is how all of this shit that we have been talking about over the last 2 years of shit, why it was even a thing and why the logic was completely gone. Toxic femininity is so powerful. You feel me? And from a man's perspective, that it leads to the trust that a motherfucker can tell you to trust science that had never been done and you'd believe him. That's how powerful it is because it gives you specific details that are out of your reach that you don't understand. You feel me? But when masculinity steps in to analyze and deconstruct this, I use my masculine essence through the entire pandemic to try to keep people on point, keep people sane, because I understand what the fear mongering was. People think fear mongering is just to make you scared. No, they bombard you with so much information that you don't know how to process that you become scared of it. Fear is the inability to understand. It's not necessarily the point of being scary of a motherfucker, right? But when you tie fear, when you are completely at a point where you can't understand something, then it scares you. The more you're bombarded with it, and it's happening so fast that you can't process it. So when I was, breaking down all the shit, I had to use my masculine essence and not my toxic feminine essence. Just say, y'all just give this shit up. Y'all just stop paying attention and stop watching the news. No, understand what the news is telling you, and you'll be okay. You can't be fear mongered when you're able to understand and process shit because that fear doesn't lead to you being scary anymore. You feel me? It doesn't lead to you being scared anymore. It leads you to understanding that you're safe. So that capacity is gone. But what we're doing as men is when we're taking on the toxic feminine essence, we don't analyze and deconstruct anymore. We've been emasculated and we've been effeminized. People think effeminized means that you're acting solely like a woman. Doesn't mean you're acting like a woman or behaving as a woman. It means that you're utilizing your synthesis and constructive faculties, but you're just using it from a negative perspective because you know that men have to be opposite to women. So women are naturally creators. Men will be destroyers once they adopt masculine energy. You dig what I'm saying? Like we live in a world where men really told women what to do with their bodies and women did it. Women do it. They'll put a few women as the face, but it's a man's idea. Abortion ain't no shit a woman to do. You feel me? Abortion really ain't no shit a woman to do. You have been convinced and over time it's like, yo, I'm pro-choice. Are you really pro-choice? And that's where we come into the next phase of the catty argumentative passive aggression. Some people will just let shit rot just to get motherfuckers to shut up. Yo, it's their body. They could do whatever they want to do. But that shit comes flip-flop. Because at one point it was, yo, it's your body. You can do what you want to do. But then when the motherfuckers refusing COVID shots, you're putting the rest of us at risk. Nigga. Obese, the nigga Obama just did an interview not too long ago and said 1 in 5 people are unvaccinated. So 20% of the population are unvaccinated. And so basically 20% of the population are unvaccinated and they're still putting the other 80% at risk who are vaccinated. That means your vaccination don't work. I'm not like masculine energy, masculine expressions, analyzing and deconstructing. It doesn't take rocket science to analyze and deconstruct the situation. To say, bro, if one person is unvaccinated, it's still putting the other 4 vaccinated people at risk who have to get boosters. Your shit don't work. Now just think about that shit. When I heard those numbers, this is a quick tangent, but when I heard those numbers, and I know that this is mRNA technology, and I know the science and the results have been shutting people down. Some people can't have babies. Women's whole wombs are being fucked up and shit. Babies are being destroyed. That means they literally controlled the population. They finally did it. It's no longer speculation anymore. They've controlled the population. The next 5 to 10 years are going to be very critical. The world has to stay alive off of 20% of the people, which is crazy because now, are you unvaccinated going to be dealing with a vaccinated person? And because I've seen with that being mRNA technology, that shit is in your DNA now. So when you swap DNA material with a motherfucker through horizontal gene transfer from sex, kissing, all kind of shit, yes, you can swap DNA like that. You can swap DNA like this, called horizontal DNA. Vertical DNA is when you're passing from offspring down. Horizontal DNA is when you're passing it from two people that are side by side because they live together. You ever been in a relationship with a shorty, right? And y'all live together and y'all start to look alike. People start to tell you, yo, y'all favor each other because of horizontal gene transfer. It's called horizontal gene transfer. And it goes from left to right rather than up and down a lineage. It goes left to right to the lineage that is there, right? So these things play themselves out. So when you actually, even if you get with somebody who's vaccinated, you're unvaccinated, or whatever the case may be, is the baby going to survive that? Is the baby going to be able to be created in that? That's why they say these COVID babies are different, but that's a different conversation. So these moments are all rooted in the fact that toxic femininity is what it is. The catty argumentative man. I know it seems like I'm not talking about catty argumentative man. I had to set the scene because the catty argumentative man comes into that passive aggressive person, but then it comes into that ruthless aggressive person too. It's aggression. Remember when I was saying that? 3 emotions that we're allowed to exhibit as men are anger, rage, and aggression, because these are quote unquote manly emotions or manly feelings. You feel me? And because they're quote unquote manly feelings, it's like, yo, these are what men supposed to do. So they teach you to channel these in some kind of venue. When you get angry, go focus. Like, this is why athletes are quote unquote so good, because I went into a zone, I got mad, I got this, I got that, anger, rage, and aggression. You went and showed out because you don't know how to transmute your energy for real from a masculine perspective based off analysis and deconstruction. So you have to use it from a perspective of synthesis and construction, but because it has to be manly, it becomes toxic and it destroys. You feel what I'm saying? This is why football is so impactful. You feel me? This is why basketball is what it is. This is why these contact sports are what they are, because it's, you feel me? It's about destruction. I have to destroy my opponent. I have to kill my opponent. Like all of the wordage is there. I don't want to get too heavy into that, right? But we got it. So when we look at the catty argument of the man, right? This is the man. It's deeper than just the man being like Kevin Samuels. You feel what I'm saying? Because everybody, oh, he got the sugar in his tank. He's sweet. Before I say that, let me say this. There's a lot of motherfuckers who are quote unquote gay who ain't gay, who were never gay, who just ultimately accepted the energy and accepted the mentality that people spoke over them. Nothing was wrong with them. They were never gay. They just had become toxic feminine men. And because toxic feminine has two dualities, either you're going to be the manly one or the womanly one. When they see it, it's like, okay, he's gay because he's emulating the women in his life. That's all he sees. That's all he sees. You feel me? And then when you constantly repeat it, that programs in the mind, this is what I am. This is why I go through that in So Frail 3 with the tree of life and the chakras, because your personal identity, once that shit's programmed, that's who you become. You have to rewrite your own personal identity. But sometimes shit be so written down into you, it's hard to change certain shit. You feel me? But it shows you going deep into yourself. But I'm saying that because when we look at most of the homosexual culture, most, when I say most, any of the alphabet people, and this is not, trying to disrespect them, but this is really the reality. Most of the alphabet people, the ones that are like the most alphabet, they try to act like black women. Like, it's like that's the pinnacle. That's the pinnacle. If you ever paid attention to that, most homosexual people at their peak, their goal is to act like black women. It's crazy, right? It's fucking crazy. Show me the from the most homosexual white dude who sees the queen in himself, they try to act like a black woman. Everybody says this shit. Oh, I got an inner black woman, blah blah blah. That's what that shit was about. You feel what I'm saying? It's about, so we know that it's operating from femininity, but now it's just going to be toxic because now men are exhibiting it. You feel me? This now ties into the Catty argumentative part. Now, the only person that speaks worse to a woman, especially a black woman, is a homosexual man. I've noticed that homosexual men get passes because, of course, they're aligned with who quote unquote and women are yassing them and shit like that. But that is still a toxic feminine man. And these are the dualities that I was talking about with Catty argumentative. You can have the ones who say, but look at how the energy is. You feel me? I've seen homosexual men tell women that, I'll slap the shit out you, bitch. And it's not that bad, so people say. No, that is still a man saying he's gonna slap the shit out of a woman. I don't give a fuck if he switch when he walk or whatever. He got a little twang in his voice. That's a man still. You feel me? That's a man still. But the response is the same way. Listen to a homosexual man get mad at a woman. It's like, that's justified. It's like, yeah, but like, they call women bitches more than straight men call women bitches, but only the straight men get in trouble for calling women bitches. The seed is still the same, right? This is why I always tell people, this is why I got to the point of, because we have been emasculated so much, that through the toxic feminine expression that we have been given, you're either going to have homosexual men who like vagina and homosexual men who don't. Low key, a lot of us are conditioned and programmed to be homosexual men. This is a part of this toxic feminine shit. You dig what I'm saying? But when you get to the point where you're manly, you may never say, okay, I wouldn't be attracted to a dude. I'm not fucking. But then it's like, when you are in a space where you can't tap into your faculties of analysis and deconstruction, it starts to hinder you. So now you go into these conversations where either you're going to be completely detached, emotionally unavailable, or you're going to become the catty argumentative person. You feel me? The motherfucker who rather than clapping his hands and rolling his neck, you punching your motherfucking fist and flexing your muscles. It's the same. It's just a different threat. It's a different appearance of the threat. You feel me? But the energy is rooted in the same shit. It's all ties of feminine energy. You feel me? That catty argumentative man is the one who has to go back and forth. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you always going back and forth with women. It's the same shit with dudes. You feel me? The motherfuckers who like little chihuahuas, they want to bark and shit. And it's like, ah, fuck, blah, 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 I'll fuck you up, nigga, blah, blah, blah. The ones who got to talk before they doing all this shit. That becomes a catty argumentative perspective. You feel what I'm saying? But it comes in a response of us watching women and being nurtured to exhibit behaviors as a woman. You feel me? The tendencies as a woman, but it's just like, do this as a man. And it's okay. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to do some shit that a woman does, but do it in a man's perspective. You feel me? But that's what we're programmed to, but we're not doing things as women. We're doing things as a destructive essence within ourselves. You dig what I'm saying? No thought behind a lot of the shit that we do. We just talk and we act and we do shit. And, when we get the overly violent motherfuckers and we get the motherfucking gangsters and shit, a lot of motherfuckers that are gangsters are really toxic feminine men or boys that were there. And it's like, nigga, I'm gonna go shit. Like, it's all destruction. You feel me? Now, gang culture started off on some masculine shit, but how masculine can it remain when, you know what I'm saying? For example, Crips is what? Community Revolution and Progress. I forgot what the acronyms for blood is, but it originally started off as some shit for the community. What happened? What happened? When did it change? You feel me? Oh, when they put crack in the community, put dope in the community, whatever the case may be. Yeah. When they put that in the community, toxic feminine men were the ones who were eating off of the shit. Well, I ain't gonna say eating. They were the ones who were running their. For example, when we look at Snowfall, Franklin Saint would be classified as a toxic feminine man. Perfect, perfect, perfect example of a toxic feminine man. But because of what he represents and the way in which he moves he does have a lot of examples where he exudes his masculine energy, but for the most part, his energy is toxic feminine. It's catty argumentative. You dig what I'm saying? The scene with Leon where he's like, yo, every motherfucking thing else, that's a toxic feminine expression. You feel what I'm saying? It doesn't always have to be neck rolls and snaps. You can look manly as fuck doing some toxic feminine shit. This doesn't take away from, what snowfall is or what it represents, because Franklin, in his calculations and the shit that he's doing, he's still using his masculine energy. He's analyzing, deconstructing his entire situation, but the core. And then when we look back, his dad was a panther, but his dad was out of his life. Who is he going to embody? Who is he largely going to embody? His sister. I mean, his mama. You feel me? Because that's who's raising him. Yeah, his Uncle Jerome is, it's the manly figure, but his Uncle Jerome, again, another toxic feminine man. Not on no funny shit, because he still, he was lifting weights in the yard, knocking niggas out, but at the same time, where was his rationale process? Jerome's impulsive. He fucks shit up. He destroys shit. That's toxic feminine behavior. You feel what I'm saying? It's written. It's right there. A lot of the shit that we embody is toxic feminine, right? So we're asking ourselves, where did it come from? We're asking ourselves where it came from without acknowledging that it started because of integration. It got heavier because of integration. I'll explain why. We began to be taught by, for one, our enemies, but for two, we began to be taught the same way in which the people were being taught who elevated to a point that destroyed us, so we can ultimately destroy ourselves, right? So when we look at going to school with the Caucasian boy who's being raised to do it, like, he becomes our best friend in school. He becomes a good friend of ours in school as he's learning shit at home of not to really fuck with me or to deceive and be deceptive towards me. And you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can't figure out why in the fuck you ain't supposed to be fucking with this motherfucker while you're fucking with this motherfucker. You dig what I mean? That's the coldest reality of a lot of this shit, because that integration shit made us the white men that we hate. We don't really, and when we look at why are black women not protected, this is why. We have adopted a toxic feminine behavior that sees you the same way as the Caucasian man. Don't get me wrong. It's made the black women look at us the same way too. You feel me? Don't get me wrong. It's made black women look at us, but this is so Frail conversations. But it's made us look at our women like that. It's just, And now, when you look at your program to view your women as objects of lust, that's it. Nothing more, nothing higher. So it's like, yeah, you're supposed to submit to me. You ain't shit. You ain't never gonna be shit. So I'm gonna get somebody that ain't shit. This is why the whole high value pay attention to a lot of shit that is developed solely out of toxic femininity. The high value man complex, that is some toxic feminine shit. You feel me? Very toxic feminine shit. This is why, and toxic femininity is how polygamy even plays itself out. I know that kind of jump, but here's why I'm breaking that down. Because when I did the episode where I was saying polygamy is for the carnal, monogamy is for the divine, right? You can't be monogamous. Toxic femininity won't even allow a man to perceive monogamy. You feel me? It's toxic femininity that has these motherfuckers thinking in the conceptualization that, oh, we have abundance of sperm, so that means that we are supposed to have multiple women. That's their logic. That's the peak of their masculinity. That's the peak of the analysis and deconstruction that they have with that thought. Think about that shit. The world is being run by niggas who think like that. Who think, well, men have the abundance of sperm, so you feel me? So now you can tell a motherfucker, and this is where analysis and deconstruction comes in. So now you have trans men or women. I don't know how to define what they are. Like, no funny shit. Like, when you say a trans woman, is it the man who became a woman, or is it, you got to say that that's a trans man because he was a man and he changed or some shit? I don't know. But whoever the ones are that were the men to become women, they're like, oh, y'all gonna be sick when trans women can give birth because they had uterus transplants. That's toxic feminine shit. I'm gonna tell you why. Let me break it down. That's a toxic feminine shit, but that's a catty argumentative man. That's a catty argumentative energy. You're saying you're gonna be able to do what a woman does without fully changing into a woman, just looking like one. No, because analysis and deconstruction, healthy analysis and deconstruction is gonna be like, okay, let's look at that. Even if a man was to get a uterus transplant, I don't know where it's gonna stick. You feel me? Because your uterus, a woman's uterus, is bound to something in her creation. So they're just gonna put a uterus in you. Okay, cool. Now, what kind of hips do you have? 99.9% of men. 99.9% of men. This is why you can't argue with me. You can't argue with masculinity. about what is. You have to argue what you feel. Oh, gender and sex and roles, this is man-made shit. I think it's nature made, homie. But that's my own thing. But when you do the analysis and the deconstruction from that same perspective, and you're truly breaking down the human body, you say, okay, 99%, there's no bullshit. Go look it up. 99% of men have what's called an android pelvis. An android pelvis. An android pelvis makes you a man. That is the delineating factor to say this is a man's body. If you stripped everything down and you let the motherfucker die and ain't nothing but the bones and the pelvis is left, you would see this is an android pelvis. This was a man. I don't know how tall or short this motherfucker was, but this was a motherfucking man. Women have a lower rate of the android pelvises, right? But most of the women, especially the more melanin you have, you feel me? The more melanin you have, because your genetics are dominant, you have what's called a platypoid pelvis. But when you have recessive genetics, you end up largely with the android pelvis. This is one of those reasons why I tell y'all motherfuckers to make sure you telling your ladies and shit, motherfucking, oh, but 30, it's going to be a lot harder. Yes. Do you know why it's a lot harder? Because they base the science solely off of Caucasian women. They base the science off of a genetic structure that predominantly has an android pelvis. It is hard to conceive and give birth after 30 with an android pelvis when you're not taking care of yourself, when your body doesn't have the right nutrients, because now your men's pelvises don't expand. Women's do, because it's naturally designed that way to accommodate a fucking child, right? That's just one analysis and deconstruction. So it's like, okay, cool. Y'all get the uterus transplant. Okay. What about the placenta that's supposed to go with the development? Nigga, you can't. What? Where's your baby's umbilical cord connecting to? You see what I'm saying? This is toxic femininity, the sole purpose of destroying shit and trying to look good doing it. You feel me? That's why I'm like, yo, y'all niggas really, masculinity is gone, children. And what we're left with is our expression of toxic femininity that leads us to be catty, argumentative men. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know what I'm saying, that perspective of you arguing with females. You feel me? I'm using that for dramatic effect. You feel me? You arguing with females and shit. I ain't about to argue with no female. I ain't about to argue with no female. Why you're arguing? Because of a female. Dramatic effect. It's a woman, but dramatic effect. You feel me? The way in which we speak to our homies, the way in which we speak to people, you can see the expression of toxic femininity. Like I said, I'm going to take it back. I'm going to take it back to Snowfall, Franklin, toxic feminine energy. You dig what I'm saying? Jerome, toxic feminine energy. This is the results of the shit that happened to us when we integrated and shit. Like, it'd be written right in your face. It's like, yo, what happened to the masculine man? The masculine man been gone a long time ago, and what we've been thinking is masculinity is pseudo-masculinity because it's just toxic femininity. It's destroying us. You feel me? Anybody who can break out of the this is why I wrote the chapter on noir phobia. You feel what I'm saying? We're going to create the toxic feminine man because we have the fear of the black messiah. They didn't say the toxic feminine part, but J. Edgar Hoover is documented saying, yo, we fear the rise of a black messiah. A lot of people think a black messiah is a savior. I showed you what a messiah was in Soul 3. I even showed you how to become a messiah in Soul 3. Because as black men, once you become that, you tap into your masculine essence analysis and deconstruction. You do not have to depend on them anymore. So now, when we look at toxic femininity, let's look at how femininity plays itself out. Femininity is designed to submit, supposedly, as they say, according to religious doctrine, right? Which means that even if you're a man on feminine energy, you're going to be submitting to the greater feminine energy above you, right? Right? So now when we look at jobs, we look at the education system, we look at quote unquote authority. Authority and all these things are established under the premise of toxic femininity. That's why you have to be beneath me. I can have my fortune say, a woman's supposed to submit to me as I go to a job to submit to another man who controls my livelihood. If I say something slick, you can fire me. If I say something you don't like, you can fire me. Or to hire me, I have to say everything you need me to say. I cannot be myself. That's emasculation like a motherfucker because you cannot think or analyze and deconstruct your world according to how you need it analyzed and deconstructed. But you have to work according to the energy, synthesis and construction based off of how this person's world wants to be. So we can talk this shit, Black women, you got to submit to your boss, nigga. You submit to your fucking boss too. You be on time. You be apologizing for being late. You be calling ahead of time. You don't just have a no call, no show. You submit to that motherfucker too. Don't flex. Don't flex. But when you in that catty argumentative space due to the toxic feminine expression that you're in, you're gonna make it seem like your shit is good. This is why motherfuckers listen to respond. Niggas don't even listen to actually listen. They hear what you said, get some trigger words, and respond back. And they pick out what parts they want. This is why it's very, very important that you pay attention to the full scope of masculinity. Masculinity catches everything. Femininity only catches what makes it feel good. That's why a lot of the shit of what we're dealing with right now is niggas and motherfuckers talking about what I feel. What I feel like this. I don't give a fuck what you feel like. Facts and feelings ain't the same shit. Hey, bro, for real though, at some point we gotta stop talking to women about masculinity and start talking to each other about it. And I mean really talk to each other. Not as enablers and co-signers, but as men trying to reach the pinnacle of our essence. And that's what the So Frail series does. So Frail 1 is the definition. So Frail 2 is the acknowledgement. And So Frail 3 is the resolution. If you rock with the So Frail conversations, I can guarantee you will rock with the So Frail series of books. So visit IamJustSaying.com right now so you can add the series to your library. I promise you will never look at masculinity the same again, and you're going to stop wasting your time arguing with women about it. This is a conversation that men need to have between men, and it's time we start having this conversation now. You feel me? But where is all of this coming from? Feel me? Where is all this coming from on the collective to where we as men are catty and argumentative? Now, some of us is catty argumentative from the most extreme side. Well, I ain't gonna argue at all. You feel me? Bitch, you ain't about to make me raise my voice. Ooh, pimp shit. Pimps be some of the most feminine motherfuckers alive. But they get a woman's head. They get in a woman's head and they can manipulate a woman into doing whatever they want them to do. Destruction. Toxic femininity. Catty argumentative. Bitch, get out here and get my money. Bitch, I'll slap the shit out of you. Bitch, I'll do it. When you motherfuckers having conversations like that where a woman gets on your nerves and shit and you buck at her and, start clapping and shit, punching your fists and shit, and you feel me? You gotta hit walls and shit. Like, nigga, that's toxic feminine energy, bro. But it's toxic feminine energy based off the three feelings that you're allowed to feel: anger, rage, and aggression. How do you healthily? Men need a healthy. They try to teach us that as men we need a healthy release of our energy, never a healthy processing. So it's like, oh, he got a lot of anger. I'm gonna go put him in sports. For what? So he can get more angry with every punch every hit that he takes, and the motherfucker just become really, really numb because now I can take physical pain. The fuck? It gets crazy. It gets crazy. But all of that was to bring into this conversation that we're finishing up right now. The catty argument in the man. You feel me? Like I said, I myself have been a catty argument in the man. That's how I know there's two dynamics to the shit. I was never the motherfucker who was, had that twing in him. So, but it was like, yo, I'm arguing like a girl, bro. Like, you feel me? And it wasn't never the point of arguing like a girl. It was, you know what I'm saying? So it makes you want to, you know what? I should move. Let me make it manly. You feel me? Make it manly. Nah, it's the same energy, bro. It's the same energy because it's all in how you're going to present it when it's said and done. When a problem is hit, you match it. It's like, okay, this is why it's like the whole thing between the quote unquote battle of the sexes, or whenever women and men talking and shit. The conversation is not to be understood, it's to be right. You feel me? Like motherfuckers have a whole argument. It's like, yo, I'm right, you wrong. It's like, no, that's not the point. We're supposed to reach understanding with opposing forces, which means the masculine energy has to neutralize that feminine energy. So it's like, okay, here's what you have: synthesis and construction, and here's what I have to have: analysis and deconstruction. But both of us are bringing situations of synthesis and construction. Now they're opposing each other because one's toxic, one's healthy. I'm not saying all women are healthy, but by default, when you're in a battle like that, one is going to be more toxic and one is going to be more healthy than the other, even though they can both be toxic. Like you have a -5 and a -3. -3 is technically greater than -5, but they both negative numbers. You feel what I'm saying? Shit like that. But to get 0, you need a -3 and a +3. You feel me? To say, okay, bam, that's masculine and feminine energy. Simple expression. But as men, we don't have that responsive analog to it. We also watch men argue with men. You feel me? We see that shit all the time in the hood. Nigga, I'll fuck you up, bro. I'll fade your bitch ass right now. Nigga, pull up. You feel me? We love Kendrick Lamar, Poetic Justice. We love his Good Kid, Mad City. What happened? I'ma ask you one more time, homie. Where is you from? Hey. He over here for sure, homie. I don't give a fuck where he from, nigga. If you don't tell me where he from, it's a wrap. This is all toxic feminine energy, bro. It's all toxic feminine energy. It's about to be some destructive shit. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of times because we tied to gang shit, we tied to actual quote unquote street shit, we don't see the femininity in the shit because we are so tied to seeing femininity as acting like a woman. We can't see the destruction that the femininity is putting on us because we have taken on toxic shit. So we literally will argue with motherfucker, I beat your motherfucking ass, then I'll fuck you up. You talking to it like, you feel me? Like, there's no processing, like, why do I want to beat your ass right now? What have you done to me to make me want to beat your motherfucking ass? You feel me? We have reached the point where we roasted each other. We come to a certain point where like, somebody got to concede to this. You feel me? Somebody got to submit. Somebody got to concede to the situation to say, okay, bam, this femininity is stronger rather than, letting it go. You gotta be able to match that. You feel me? Toxic feminine shit. Toxic feminine shit. You feel me? It's crazy how many of us are really toxic feminine. Not many of us have ever experienced masculinity. So what we do is we get on a podcast. We get on a motherfucking podcast, and all we do is talk about how women ain't shit. Everything is about women, not our shit. You know why? Because that's toxic feminine shit. It's toxic feminine shit. Not paying attention to the topic or even making it because we can't speak directly to each other. So you know how when they say shit like, this is one of those things where they be like, yo, men are violent. I've had men say shit like, yo, who's gonna protect men from men? Like, and this is my perspective with it. Because I've been toxic feminine. I've been a catty argumentative motherfucker. I've been a destroyer. You feel what I'm saying? So for me, I get why I don't give a fuck about violence because I used to be the violent motherfucker. Like I be hearing conversations where they be like, black women, they be wanting black men to protect them. And this, if my sisters are listening, I want you, and my brothers, y'all listen to this shit too. I know because I used to terrorize niggas, bro. So this is how I know. You feel me? But this is all toxic feminine energy. You feel me? Black women want all black men to protect them. All black men ain't protectors. Because you got to understand the perspective in which you're protecting, right? As they say, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in the war. Feel me? A lot of us can't prepare for war because we're around barbarians. Barbarians don't respect war. There's no code for barbarians. War is we fight with the warriors only. Barbarians massacre everything. It's different. So toxic feminine energy is our barbarian state. So when we're expressing it from that barbaric state, everything we do has to be from that perspective. You feel me? So when we're approaching this shit that we're protecting and providing, we're not. We're about to desecrate some shit. And that's where a lot of women are getting fucked up. They think they're being protected and provided for by the man, or they're being protected, but you're not being protected. This man is devastating those things around him to make it appear like he's giving you protection. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, no, because at any given moment when the time has to switch, who you're gonna be protected from by this crazy motherfucker. So motherfuckers be thinking the nigga crazy. Motherfuckers don't really be crazy, they just be toxic feminine. And it's reached a point that they have no masculine faculty to process and dilute this shit. You feel what I'm saying? So the point that I'm making, I know I kept jumping around, was how I've heard men say shit like, well, black women want us to protect, protect them, but it's like some black men are scary too, and they scared. And so I pointed that out. I had this black woman say, why don't I was like, cuz some men are scary. That's not an excuse. It is an excuse. It is a fucking excuse because you never been on the other side of that shit as a man. You feel me? You probably been on as a woman, so it's like for you as a woman, it's like there's no reason why another man should be afraid of another man. But at the same time, it's not men. It's toxic feminine energy. That is energy for destruction. You feel me? Some niggas know who they can't destroy. Some niggas don't. But as somebody who's been on that side where I've been a violent motherfucker and I hung with all of the violent motherfuckers, I can understand why a motherfucker would be scared of the violent motherfuckers. Women can't see that. Women aren't gonna see that from our perspective because it's like you're a man. Once you cross 20 and you can hit weights and shit, it don't matter. You don't know what goes through a motherfucker's mind when it's time to fight. Hell, I was a violent fighter and I still got nervous before a fight hit. I still got worried. My blood still, I had to still focus my mind before I can actually fight. I got scared too. I didn't fear fights though. I got scared of them. You feel what I'm saying? But at the same time, you looking at it like, yo, this nigga fucked me up. Is he with his homies or whatever the case may be? You know what's up. You feel me? But that masculine essence, the reason why you can still go through it because you analyze and deconstruct. You know your enemy. You know how you can beat his motherfucking ass. You feel me? I was too small to really fight niggas for real, supposedly. But I've been in more fights than a little bit, and I won my share of fights. Most of the fights I've been in, I won. I can count on my hands how many I lost. But I've always been a smaller guy. So motherfuckers would try to, yeah, that toxic feminine shit. That toxic feminine shit makes them want to assert a dominance. You feel what I'm saying? I'm more manly than you. You feel me? Think about when you was in high school playing sports. What was something that niggas always ask every year? Yo, what you bench? What you, oh, I'm stronger than you. I don't give a fuck. My hands are better than yours. I will beat your motherfucking ass. You feel me? That's one of the reasons why I kept my hands on point, why these dick beaters are still nice right now. Because, feel me, when I knew I was smart, I knew niggas would want to wrestle and shit because they couldn't fight for real. So I was like, damn, let me show you what a fight really is. Boom, boom, I'm fucking you up. You gotta slam me. You got to. You got to destroy the situation because you have not analyzed and broken this shit down. I'm hitting you in your nose. I know that when I throw that first jab into your nose, your eyes gonna shut and it's gonna water. You ain't seeing shit. I don't have to worry about no crazy haymakers. Boom, catch one mean one in the nose. Boop. As soon as you start going crazy, I'm sidestepping your shit. Bing, 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 bing. I'm fucking you up because I know you can't see. When I know that your eyes are probably cleared up at that point, boom, hit you in your nose again. I'm a small nigga, bro. I'm not about to let you grab me. The fuck? You nigga what I'm saying? I know how to keep my distance from you. And I already got long arms too. That first jab into the nose, bing, step back. You can't see shit. So now you think I'm gonna hit you again, so you're gonna start swinging. I know how to. That's analysis and deconstruction. You feel me? That toxic feminine shit is when you get those niggas that's like, oh, I'm gonna sneak this nigga. You feel me? I'm gonna sneak this nigga. He got his hands behind his back, sidestepping and shit. You're not even paying attention. So I'm saying all of that because I've been in the trenches with the violent motherfuckers. So I understand when motherfuckers be on some shit like, I can't, I'm not about to put my life on the line to protect a woman that I don't even know. I get it. I get it. I'm not even mad at you because I get it. But none of that shit could happen if you were in your masculine essence. You feel what I'm saying? None of that shit will be the reality of what it is if we were in our masculine essence. So we could see a motherfucker screaming on his lady and shit. And like the story I was telling about Philly. When I was in Philly and the shorty cussed me out and told me my motherfucking business. Then her man slapped her. Prior to that, her man screamed. I'm like, yo, bro, chill the fuck out. He calmed down in my presence. And it's because my masculine essence was what was speaking to him, not my toxic feminine essence. I'm like, yo, bro, man, leave that bitch alone, man. She blah, blah, blah. I didn't come off him like that. Yo, that's a female, nigga, leave that. I didn't try to assert dominance. I was like, yo, bro, like, you feel me? The dominance was asserted by the way in which I spoke to him. You feel what I'm saying? Either you got it or you don't. I'm like, hey, yo, bro, chill out, man. That's your lady, man. Leave that alone, bro. You right, bro. Man, I'm gonna leave it. Mind your motherfucking business. Okay. He's still screaming on her. Bow. Like, don't look at me, nigga. I'm minding my business now. I'm minding my business now. You feel me? I'm minding my motherfucking business now. But that's the dynamic of the toxic feminine aspect that we don't address because it's like when the man is like, yo, he said you could at least say something. No, he couldn't. Because you got to ask yourself as a woman, if you're listening, when that catty argumentative point comes in, there's no stop. There's no stop. So it's like, what's going to happen? Because this is now the barking shit. Niggas like barking. You feel me? So what's going to happen when it all evolves and it all goes into that space of, all right, this is where we going to be at. Motherfuckers get scared. Motherfuckers get scared. Hood people are scary. I ain't gonna lie. Hood people are scary. I'm not scared of hood people because I'm a hood dude. Like, my roots run deep. But I understand why motherfuckers are scared. You feel me? So I understand why with that toxic, this is why we get passive aggressive. Because we know that we can, if we trigger direct aggression, we can't handle it. You feel me? That's why we'll say little slick shit, get sarcastic and shit like that. My sarcastic wit is crazy. I'm very, very sarcastic. And a lot of people be like, yo, that's a part of the toxic feminine shit that I had to pick up as a kid. I ain't have to, but I did anyway because it's like, you don't want to be overly aggressive because now they're telling me that my shit is toxic masculinity because I'm exhibiting over aggressive behavior when I'm really being a catty argumentative man rooted off of toxic femininity. Ain't got shit to do with my masculinity. But we think toxic femininity is manliness. So we say, oh, you're No, my toxic femininity is fucked up. My femininity is fucked up as a whole because it is toxic and there's no masculine essence for me to balance the shit with. So when I come out, I'm gonna be real sarcastic. Either I'm gonna cuss you out. The catty argumentative man is either gonna be the one that cusses you out, like in your face, call you stupid, hang up on you. You feel me? End the call because whatever. Talk about your mama and shit. That's catty argumentative man. That's that toxic feminine energy. It's designed to destroy when you are in a certain space. That's how you get back at people. You destroy them. This is why women's tongues cut a lot worse. This is why a lot of men, I ain't gonna say a lot. This is why a lot of men be getting physically abused by what a woman said. You feel me? I'm not giving the pass because of domestic violence is wrong on both sides, right? But when you watch Poetic Justice, when Chicago slapped Shorty, oh, that's a female. That was two toxic feminine energies clashing with each other. That was two toxic feminine energies clashing with each other, two catty argumentative expressions coming together. And for his perspective, he was trying to be the nonchalant, emotionally unavailable motherfucker, just keep brushing his hair. But when she said the words, that's why I'm fucking somebody else. What did he do? He slapped the shit out of her. You know why he slapped the shit out of her? Because it's the toxic feminine energy to destroy. Your words just destroyed me. Now let me get you back. But as a man, because our natural predisposition and our natural essence is to analyze and deconstruct, we don't really process quick whips like that. Well, quips like that. You feel me? Where we can respond to a woman like, now, don't get me wrong, some of us are like that. I was one of those motherfuckers who's quick with it too. You feel me? But that's where my sarcasm and my semantics and all that other shit came in. I was good with words. Some of us don't process that shit first. And the fastest, the only thing that we know how to do is hit. Only thing we know how to do is hit. You feel me? So when she's like, nigga, that's the reason why I'm fucking somebody else. He didn't deserve, she didn't deserve to get hit. So you think, because we've been programmed since kids, sticks and stones break bones. Words will never hurt you. That's a fucking lie. Words hurt you worse than sticks and stones. You feel me? I can get hit with a stick today, bruise up and shit, and I could be good within a week. There's shit that motherfuckers have said to me when I was 6 years old that I have not forgotten today. Now, when you tie that to toxic feminine energy and a catty argumentative, what do you think is programmed into your mind by the words that you have heard? You feel what I'm saying? So when we become catty argumentative men in our older ages and shit, we have those expressions, and this is what we gotta be. So like I said, you have the aggressive motherfucker that'll call you a bitch to your face, say you're stupid. Like, you feel me? I was riding with my big brother one time. We was younger, and he was with his girl or whatever the case might be. We both had toxic feminine energy. I ain't gonna lie about the shit. Because I mean, we all got it. That's, you can't hear what you don't reveal. Because the culture in which we in. So we riding this shit, and some dude just looking at his girl in the car and shit. I don't even know if he was looking at his girl looking through the car, whatever. He said, man, stop looking at my bitch in the car. I was like, I looked at his girl like, you gonna let him call you a bitch? That was my thing. I was like, because I already know my brother could scrap. You know what I'm saying? I already know he gets with the shits. So I already know. I'm like, yo, my thing was, hey, shorty, you gonna let him call you a bitch in the car? Like, that's my brother and all. But I'm like, yo, you call your girl a bitch? I was in a whole twilight zone. I'm not even thinking about dude at this point. I'm like, just call this girl a bitch. It's prerogative. But you feel me? That's part of toxic feminine energy. You feel what I'm saying? It's toxic feminine energy. And within that energy, we approach each other as men that way. You feel what I'm saying? We approach each other as men that way. We speak to each other like that. And we hold that energy. That's how gang culture works. That's how gang culture is a thing. Do you understand the significance of removing a father from the home? Masculinity is our predisposition. Your energy is what but we have both energies. So whichever energy that you see the most, that's the energy you're going to embody. Putting your sons in sports and shit like that, it don't mean nothing if the toxic feminine energy root is there. You can be the father present in your child's life who is a toxic feminine man. Your kid is going to be that same way. No funny shit, because I love them to life, right? But I understand the game in which the cycles are going. My nephews, them motherfuckers is quick witted. They talk more shit than a little bit. And motherfuckers be like, yo, why y'all running your mouth so much? Girls get the pass for running their mouths. Like my niece is like, yo, we want our women to be able to speak. So our men have to feel that way too. But it's like, yo, that dominance is there. Like motherfuckers, we say certain shit. We slick with it. You feel what I'm saying? We'll say certain sarcastic shit back, but as a part of toxic feminine energy. You feel me? And again, it doesn't make you homosexual if you're exhibiting toxic feminine energy. It makes you destructive. It makes you destructive. This catty argumentative shit is when we become destructive with our words. You feel me? You ever been in a situation where you just where a roast session just gets a little too, you feel me? We start off joking on shit that people can change, and then you start getting personal. You start getting on real, all of my wit with the jokes and shit. When I roasted people, I pissed people off because people, when they joked on me, they would always joke on shit that I physically can't change. That's not fair. That's not fair. But I still had that toxic feminine energy. So I roasted on shit you could change and shit you couldn't change, and I made sure everybody was gonna laugh at the shit. But that was toxic feminine energy. I had to match it because I was not about to let your toxic feminine energy crush mine. But I didn't even know what the fuck I was doing. I'm thinking we just joking. You feel me? That's when it gets to the point, nigga, you can't beat me though. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can beat you in the motherfucking words, and now we know we're gonna scrap out because I've been fighting for this shit too anyway. Now you reach the point where you can't fuck with me. Now you want to fight because you couldn't destroy me with your words. You have to try to destroy me with your hands. Now we're gonna make a spectacle. Now you're gonna get beat the fuck up because it's really gonna shock you. Nigga, you got beat up by the skinny quiet nigga. Yo, that nigga could fight, bro. That's my homie, bro. He could fight. No, you didn't think I could fight. For one, you didn't even think I was gonna say anything back to you. And then when something was said back to you, now you want to scrap. Now you got beat the fuck up because, you feel me? Toxic femininity is a whole rabbit hole. And that's what a lot of us exhibit. You feel me? But that catty argumentative shit, that's what's running a lot of these spaces right now. You feel me? Niggas love to talk, but they hate speaking. They can't speak. They love to talk, but they can't speak. You feel what I'm saying? They love to hear themselves and they can't break shit down. They can't, I'm about to drop a jam session and shit in a few hours, but motherfuckers is really wrapped up into that bullshit. You feel me? But this is a part of the culture that we have assimilated, and this is why it was important and imperative to remove the black man out of the home, because even with the predisposition, the strong, solid black man who is naturally there, his essence will exude naturally if he's bringing out what he's supposed to bring out of his woman, she's going to bring out what's supposed to come out of him. When both of our energies are the same, we can't do that because you cannot submit to me. I have to unleash you in order to be more masculine. You dig what I'm saying? A lot of people think masculinity is volatility. No, that's barbarism. That's why I said it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. I like the peace that I have. I like the warriorhood that I like knowing that everywhere I go is a garden to me. Regardless if a motherfucker thinks I'm in a war or not, everywhere I go is a garden to me. Don't make me turn this fucking garden out. You feel what I'm saying? But a lot of times, because I treat everywhere I go like a garden, a lot of motherfuckers don't think that the warrior is in that bitch. You feel me? Until the warrior shows the fuck up and they're like, I did not know you got like that. My sister, my big sister, she observed it first. She says, I know when to stop playing with you because I know that something switched off. And I didn't even know what it was. I'm looking back. As I look back in hindsight, I was like, you feel me? It was just that energy, that masculine energy. Like, it was like, I joke with you, I'll play, but eventually I'm going to stop. My toxic feminine energy, the toxic feminine energy is no longer present. I'm not about to go back and forth with you. And the analysis and deconstruction is there. I'm breaking down the situation. And it's crazy how it worked because I'll be breaking down and analyzing the situation of what to say or what to do next to fuel the toxic feminine energy. So it was a perspective of when I got quiet and started paying attention, I've already fucked you up 100 times in my head. Now I'm just figuring out which way I want to do it based off of where you standing and what position you're moving in, right? But then I tap back into the toxic femininity because now I got to destroy. I hate doing that shit. I ain't gonna lie. I hate doing that shit. But it's because I'm a warrior and everywhere's a garden for me. You feel me? So now, a lot of men, especially gangsters and shit, especially the motherfuckers that go into the hood, that grew up in the hood, by the time we get in our 30s and shit, we've experienced so much from 15 in our 20s and shit. This is why we calm the fuck down. A lot of motherfuckers like this when we was in that volatile high head stage. Our masculinity finally kicked in and we're not that toxic. So like, yo, it's certain shit ain't worth it. We're not at the drop of a hat no more. We're not in that space because we start to observe. So when I see motherfuckers that in their 30s and they quote unquote, I'm turning up now, I'm this like that. You ain't that. You ain't built for that. But you're a lot more dangerous because you were not a child doing this shit. You're an adult doing it now. It means you have just started to experience it. You haven't matured. So that catty argumentative energy that's there, watch it. Watch these YouTube videos. Watch these TikTok videos. This is what the new podcasters on. They're like, no, niggas always, it's not niggas bashing women. It's not niggas mad at women. It's just that's the physical representation of what you see. What you're seeing is energy clashing. Two toxic feminine energies going at each other. You feel what I'm saying? This is what really a lot of women missed with the whole Steve Harvey thing, act like a lady, think like a man type thing. When you're thinking like a man, you're thinking like a toxic feminine man. So to think like a man means to exhibit your toxic feminine energy. You wonder why y'all hoes now? If y'all weren't hoes before, y'all are hoes now. And I'm being, dramatic and shit. But look at what women have done. Look at what women have been to hot girl summers and shit. Oh, we want to get away with what the niggas getting away with. The niggas shouldn't get away with it either. But this is all toxic feminine energy. So now y'all clashing with each other because it's about destruction. So when you look at these forums, these niggas will invite women onto their podcast to cuss them out. You feel me? These motherfuckers that have conversations where it's like, you can tell that they don't like women. It's not that they don't like women. A lot of these men are very straight. However, their toxic feminine energy can't reign with another toxic feminine energy. A lot of these women's energy that's coming up there, they're toxic. They're telling each other, and both people are telling each other, honestly, you're toxic. But we think it's a battle of toxic femininity versus masculinity. Masculinity isn't even a question. It's two toxic femininities coming together and clashing with one another. You feel me? So as the guys are saying, they're talking that bullshit. I just seen one of them. I don't know his name, but I'm about to make a video off of it so I can, promote a book and shit. But he was like, he's a guy who always say, yo, hold on, let me finish. And they're like, he'll give a long-winded answer, don't be saying shit. It's toxic feminine energy. Toxic, that's catty argumentative shit. A lot of motherfuckers just be saying shit and they don't be saying shit. Like, it's just a whole bunch of motherfucking talking. You feel me? It's like, nigga, for real? It's like, so what was your answer? Oh, no, you just not understanding me. Like, that's the thing. Toxic femininity is not about being understood, therefore, because it's not about analyzing and deconstructing the thought to present it. It's about dominating and destroying the situation. So I'm going to say a whole bunch of shit, talk over you, and make it like, no. When octaves increase, ears no longer listen. I don't give a fuck how loud you get, you're wrong. You can yell, get mad, roll your eyes, smack, do all the shit. It don't matter. You feel me? And we wonder why a lot of us get so frustrated in our communication, why our communication skills suck, because we're communicating as toxic feminine men. You're not hearing for the conversation. Well, you're not listening for the conversation. You're hearing for your response. You feel me? Where do we get that shit from? Where do we get that shit from? Watching toxic feminine motherfuckers deal with each other. You feel what I'm saying? You got a toxic feminine father with a toxic feminine mother, or you just got a toxic feminine mother that's there, or you just got a toxic feminine father and the mother's not there. But you're learning to respond in negative ways. Learning to respond in ways that it's just like, I said all of that shit and all you heard was this. That frustrates you. You feel me? It makes you shut down, makes you say, okay, cool. This is what it is. Don't talk over people. But when you have a conversation with somebody and people like, one thing that I do is I become real cognizant of it. I know when I'm cutting somebody off. I'm not going to be a motherfucker who, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm about to talk about something and you were I'm going to always, oh, my bad, I ain't mean to cut you off, right? That's something I had to consciously do. That's now unconsciously in me. That apology is now unconsciously in me because I knew that was something I had to change tied to being catty argumentative. You feel me? When I talk about the So Frail series, I was both the emotionally unavailable man and a catty argumentative man, simultaneously, just depending on the situation. You feel me? Because I still didn't know how to analyze and deconstruct fully yet, but I knew that this is what I was embodying, like argue. You feel me? But now I actually listen to motherfuckers now. So when I'm actually listening to motherfuckers now, we're about to say, oh shit, my bad. Go with your thought. You feel me? Go with your thought. That's one of the reasons why I do that shit, because I had to become conscious of the fact that through toxic feminine energy, I'm just gonna keep talking. But I be watching motherfucking YouTube videos, interviews, and shit, or some shit like dude be talking. One dude was talking, another dude was talking, right? And then it's like gets to that moment where they start over, and neither one of these niggas will shut the fuck up. But then one side will shut up and let the other side talk because the other side wasn't gonna budge and say, "Yo, I was talking. I was talking." It's like that's the catty argumentative shit. Kind of like a woman. Women will, I was talking type shit you to death. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you can't get a word in edgewise. Same shit with men because it's not a woman thing or a manly thing. It is a toxic feminine thing. It's not designed that when you speak from a toxic feminine perspective, you're not designed to listen. It's to overtalk and neutralize the situation because it's like a defense mechanism almost. You feel me? You don't be hearing shit. You really don't be hearing shit. So it's like when a motherfucker pauses or get a point, oh, you took a breath? Now let me talk. Wait, now I just took a breath. I wasn't done saying whatever. Whatever. You feel me? I know women who, after a while, it's like we couldn't talk anymore. It's like, why? Because you don't listen to me. You talk enough to respond to me. You feel me? But it took me internalizing myself and said, that's because our energies are the same and they clash and they're not supposed to. I was young when I first realized this. I had to be about 20, 22. Between 20 and 22 when it first came to my realization, I was like, I shouldn't be arguing with you. I shouldn't be. But now I'm at a point where, and it's like some women can get you into that space where they make you shift your toxic feminine energy on. Here's how I'm gonna say it. I'm not saying it on no shit. Oh, here we go bashing women, blah, blah, blah. No, this is a reality. Some women will make you turn it on because that's how they feel you care. You don't even respond to me. You just ignore me. I'm not ignoring you. I am just not about to clash toxic femininities with you. Some motherfuckers think a clash of toxic femininity is healthy communication. And it's not. So while the motherfucker, oh, you're gonna go back and forth in relationships, and it's just a matter of, did anybody hear what the fuck was said? Do you know why you don't process? And this is gonna be the icing on the cake of how I know motherfuckers is catty argumentative, especially us as men, and why we don't process shit the right way. Right? After an argument, what's the first thing you do? I'm gonna give you time to think about it because you know what the first thing you do is. You feel me? It ain't to process what had happened. It ain't, it's like all of the shit that you could have said in that moment better than you said the first time. How could I have dominated this conversation? How could I have destroyed this person in the conversation? Man, I should have said this. You think about all the smart shit, the funny shit, the clever shit, all after the conversation. But that's imperative because that's where your mind goes after the conversation. Not to analyze and deconstruct what the fuck just happened with you and your lady. Not to converse about, yo, bro, converse with yourself about what did I just do? Or what did she just do? What did we just talk about? It's, yo, fuck that, man. She ain't trying to hear me, yo. We never look, think about it. We never sit and be like, yo, what did she really mean when she said that shit? It's just, no, she wasn't trying to hear me. You weren't trying to hear her either. Why? Because the toxic feminine energies are clashing with each other. They're going back and forth. They bumping heads. You feel me? And we get deeper into our toxic feminine energy based off of how we speak with women. Some women some women need our toxic feminine energy, not because we're supposed to be toxic feminine, but because it's like, I feel like now you're paying attention to me. You're concerned. You're showing like, no, I'm just gonna argue with you. I'm just gonna argue with you. What happens after the argument? Nothing. Well, you're wrong. I'm right. See, that's the thing. We're not trying to understand each other. We're trying to hear enough to stop talking. So you gonna let me finish? You gonna let me talk? You feel me? That's why that Kevin Hart shit was so funny. When he was like, when you know you about to drop a bomb on you, like, are you done? Are you done? You literally listened to nothing she said. But what you heard was the fact, oh, she's wrong this time. Now I get to make her look stupid. Now I get to make her look stupid. Are you done? Are you done? Okay, so first off, and you get into the same energy space that she was just in while she was arguing with you. Catty argumentative, toxic feminine shit. And again, you don't have to be in a space where in which you expressing it, you want some shit like, yeah, I'm gonna roll my neck, roll my eyes and shit, snap my fingers, clap and shit. But yeah, you're gonna have your own little manly version of the shit. You might punch your fist a little bit, it might hit a wall. You know what I'm saying? You might clench your jaws a little bit and shit. It's shit that's quote unquote manly that's still toxic feminine. That's still a part of that catty argumentative shit. You feel me? Starting off the conversation, motherfucker, bitch out. You feel me? Same shit. And then we learn this behavior and we never unlearn it. You feel me? It's sad because we never unlearn it until we have a daughter. That's when we realize that, yo, you actually get to a point where you're going through the phase of unlocking your daughter, unleashing your daughter, while still not being that same energy, having that same energy with her mother's like, why do we argue? Because it's two toxic feminine energies. Like when we integrated and we started being taught more by them and shit and more, it was the programming. They were already emasculated as men, didn't even know it. Their culture emasculates them. Their culture emasculates them. It's wild. It's wild as fuck. It's wild as fuck. But in that emasculation, we have now assimilated into it too, and now we operate from the same perspective. You don't find it odd that, like, when we hear the stories of a motherfucker who want to kill their mama, you feel me, kill their parents, it's like, who does that shit? Who does that shit? But look at the energy that they in. It's toxic feminine energy. And when that shit clashes with each other, that's the reality that comes out. You feel me? For us as men, as black men, we know we create this air about ourselves. We can be the we can be the extremely aggressive type motherfucker where we can talk our shit. Nigga, I'll beat your motherfucking ass, but you better watch your motherfucking mouth. Nigga, I'll stomp your motherfucking face in. You can talk that shit. But then you have the passive aggressive side too. Again, I've been on both sides. That's why I'm so privy to both of them. You feel me? I can do some sarcastic shit and I can insult you without you even know you insulted. I'll beat your motherfucking ass without having to lay a hand on you. Now you got to go sit with that and you got to go, this nigga just insulted me. You feel me? This nigga just insulted me. But it's also, like I said, the other side was like, motherfucker, yo, keep talking that shit. I'll smack the shit out of you. You feel me? I'll fuck you up. I'll punch in your head. You know, it's this little shit like that. But these are toxic feminine energies that have to come together. And that's what be happening between brothers and shit. It don't be a dispute. Like, why black men can't get along? Because when your predisposition is masculinity and you are operating from toxic feminine, you coming into contact with another toxic feminine motherfucker, y'all clash. Destruction is going to happen. And what the Boondocks call it, a motherfucking nigga moment. And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end it there, bro. Sis, all y'all. Let y'all marinate with that a little bit. Toxic femininity is real. Toxic femininity is real, but we got to look. Masculinity ain't toxic. Masculinity is obsolete. I'm trying to bring this shit back, but you feel me? I gotta argue with I got into it with Catty Argumentative motherfucker on the post that I made and shit because the motherfucker wanted to focus on the details and not the fucking principle. Again, everything that I do is strategic according to how masculinity is supposed to work. I'm showing you the principle. I'm showing you that through the details you see. And he was like, well, so I asked him. So the post was about a woman in the club. She got grabbed on her ass by a dude and he walked by telling him, excuse me and shit. So I made the post. This is part of rape culture. Oh, here you go with the rape culture and shit. Women need to start dressing modestly. I said, yo, nigga, every woman who gets molested and raped or whatever the case may be, he was fully clothed. And she wasn't in the club, nigga. The fuck? But your video clearly says club. And the post and the rest of the caption, everything that goes into it, you focused on an isolated event, toxic femininity. So you can try to assert yourself. I'm going to prove him wrong about this particular point of rape culture. And I beat his motherfucking ass on that particular point of rape culture because it's like, nigga, you validated my whole point. The soul fate told me, well, women partially get, I said, you're a raper, motherfucker. Oh, now he's trying to be funny. No, nigga, you telling me that you would rape. You just told me the qualifications that prevent a motherfucker from being prevent a situation from being classified as rape. You just told me what you would qualify it as. You have your justification. So if you do something within those parameters, you will justify it to yourself that I didn't rape this person. They asked for it. They were in a club dressed like this, and I chose to touch her ass. And I'm okay with that. I said, yo, I feel bad for your daughter. I said, I hate for your daughter to come to you and say she was sexually assaulted. Because the first thing that you're going to say to her is, what were you wearing? You feel me? So the nigga try to deviate and shit, talking about, y'all always talking about this rape culture shit. I was like, no, you're not. You're missing the whole principle. You just validated my whole fucking point. Thanks for the promo. Because now when people read these captions, they say, oh, this is what the nigga was talking. Right here in real time. You feel me? But the motherfuckers who seen the shit saw beyond the club. Motherfuckers have been groping in work, grocery stores, uh, home, anywhere. It doesn't have to be in the fucking club. Smart motherfucker. The culture makes that happen in the club easier. And motherfuckers like that justify the shit. But that was some toxic feminine energy. He wanted to fucking argue about one single point rather than being able to analyze and deconstruct the full thing. So everything that I said, the motherfucker will focus on one point, not the whole lot. I was responding to everything that he said. But he was like, I want to magnify my point so it makes you look stupid. And it made him look even more dumb because, like, you're defending the very thing that I'm pointing out. And you're showing why I pointed it out in the first place. So go get the book. Yo, ain't nobody gonna read these books. They motherfuckers in the club. You know they know, nigga, just because you don't read. Because I just got some bangers off this shit. So mind your business. Watch your tone. You feel me? But that's all social media is. Social media is a bunch of toxic feminine motherfuckers with thumbs. I can go in your comments and say, what the fuck ever. You wouldn't say it in real life. This is one of the reasons why I was talking to somebody. I was talking to somebody and they were telling me, they were like, yo, bro, why you don't be, why can't you go back and forth and shit with people? Or sometimes I'm like, cuz they can't beat me in real life. In real life, this won't be the conversation. Like social media allows them to be their toxic feminine self, be the catty argumentative motherfucker. They can voice whatever the fuck they want to because they're safe behind this motherfucker. They're safe behind this motherfucker. But my words are that much more powerful that when you walk away from the shit, I busted your ass. You feel me? I don't have time to use toxic energy anymore. I don't have time to use toxic feminine energy anymore. You feel me? I'm definitely going to neutralize it with some masculine energy, though. I'm going to analyze and deconstruct what the fuck you saying to make you look, oh, damn, I just exposed this point, this point, this point, this point, this point. Now go on with yourself. Go on with yourself. And you still, and the point about it is like, this is how another point that you know toxic femininity is what it is. Motherfuckers will still argue a point that has already been, like, the levels of separation have already been shown. Like, you feel me? I got a lot of depth on a lot of the shit that I talk about. I just don't usually have to go as deep. You feel me? Even when I'm giving y'all for podcast episodes and shit, it's like a lot of this shit is like largely tip of the iceberg type shit. You feel me? It's got to be if I'm gonna be fluidly moving with it, but you feel me? That's where it's at. So it's like when I'm in those spaces of speaking, I can't go back and forth with a catty argument. Like I know, oh, you just talking out the side of your neck. Now you got to bow out because that's where that competition comes in. You can't collaborate with me because your shit's toxic. You have to destroy what I have or try to. And now you about to destroy your whole shit because you arguing about some shit that doesn't need to be argued about, that can't be argued about. And you don't even have enough claims in your arsenal to stand on your argument. Toxic feminine shit. You feel me? This is why you have those motherfuckers who, this is why professionalism is a form of toxic femininity. Professionalism by presentation, not by skill set. Oh, if you don't talk like this, if you don't move like this, like, no, that's manipulation. In a sense. You feel what I'm saying? But the professionalism motherfucker is like, I got a degree. I can talk about, oh, I can tell you're not sure about what you're saying. That's why you're throwing a degree in my face. When it comes to this science shit, when it comes to like anatomy and physiology, the human body and shit like that, I'm pretty solid in the motherfucker. I know when I reached another motherfucker's limits. They tell me shit. Well, you didn't get the degree though. Do you have the degree? I don't need it. I just made you look stupid, and you got it. So that clearly shows me your degree is worthless. Like real shit. If you got the degree and I don't have it, but I'm killing you in the shit, your degree is trash. You wasted your money. Cause I got the same shit you got above and beyond, and I didn't even pay what you paid. Well, I paid attention. You didn't pay this. We didn't pay the same attention. But again, this toxic feminine shit. The catty argumentative person. Like these catty are the ones who are running. Like, make sure you acknowledge that shit. Cause y'all gotta put some respect on my shit, yo. I'm just telling y'all, like, you feel me? A lot of these male podcasts that are coming out, they're toxic feminine podcasts. Just men talking. Just take a moment, just go back and let all of this shit is catty argumentative. These niggas don't do shit but argue. And then they get that, no, because women gotta do this, women do this, women like, yo, shut the fuck up, nigga. That's why I like the fluidity of my shit, because you feel me? Like, I just talk to us when it comes to these social, like, bro, this is us, bro. Fuck what they doing. You feel me? Because my circle ain't like that. The circle of women that are in my space, like my pool, my dating pool is different. Like, for example, you know how they say there's too many fish in the sea, right? Okay, cool. But what sea are you in? Some of you motherfuckers ain't in the right sea. Y'all ain't even in the sea that you're supposed to be in. You think you're gonna get fish. So the type of schools of fish in the seas that I'm in, it's a different caliber. So it's like I don't have, you know what I'm saying, the capacity of understanding and looking at, like, there's no anomalies in my sea. You dig what I'm saying? There's no anomalies in my sea to where it's like, oh, that person's out of my league. I can't, like, no, I don't know. Nigga, you're in my sea. I'm in your sea. The fuck? We're in the same place. Why would I be intimidated by that? And why would I focus myself on trying to intimidate you? That's toxic feminine energy. I'm that comfortable, that solid in myself, and I've tapped into so well that it's just, I don't give a fuck about, you know what I mean, about the mundane shit. There's no point in arguing. There's no point in arguing. Like, motherfuckers are like, yo, why it always got to be a debate? Shit don't even got to be a debate sometimes. It's just the fact that you want your toxic feminine energy to reign supreme, and it's wrong. It's not. Masculinity will always neutralize toxic femininity. And when it neutralizes toxic femininity, it's like, it's going to come off as, see, masculinity neutralizes toxic femininity, but toxic femininity has to destroy other toxic femininity. You feel me? You know when your masculine energy kicks in because you can say some shit and a woman to shut the fuck up. Now, I don't know, yo, shut up, girl, don't say shit. That's toxic femininity. But when you give the perspective that makes her stop what she's saying, no matter how angry she is, no matter how much energy she thinks about what the fuck you just said, that's what it's supposed to be about. You, you didn't shut her up because you were trying to prove yourself right or prove her wrong or no shit like that. You shut her up because you made her think, which is what she stopped feeling. Men, in the thought process of the mind, men think before they feel. Women feel before they think. That's one of our biggest miscommunications right there. But when you have channeled through toxic feminine energy, now let me rephrase that. Masculine energy naturally thinks before it feels. Feminine energy naturally feels before it thinks. When we switch the line and now we're in our toxic feminine space, men now feel before they think, which is not their predisposition. So you have to force yourself to feel some shit first and then go into it. So when we're responding in a way, we're not taken aback. So we're not corrected accordingly. So that's why when women say certain shit, they feel before they think. But now we don't think when they like the trigger makes us feel rather than makes us think, to where we can neutralize it and make them think and change what they feel. You dig what I'm saying? If you've ever done it, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you said some shit and a woman just mm. That shit that, okay, I'm gonna end with this. That shit women do when you say something, they're like, ooh. That is the moment. That is a moment when masculinity has neutralized femininity. Whether that be toxic or healthy, it don't matter. But that is a moment when masculinity has neutralized femininity. When you said some shit and a woman go, ooh. I'm sorry. That is so fucking cute to me. It's cute and fucking hilarious. Because you know she ain't got shit else to say. You feel me? But that was her only comeback because she didn't want to be quiet. Like, you feel what I'm saying? She be running off at the mouth. Oh, and then you say something. You ain't even got to raise your voice. You just hit that nerve and she, ooh. I love it because it's so powerful, because it shows the dynamic of a healthy functioning situation, because she literally stopped feeling for that moment and she thought, and a minute go, ooh. And now she's processing the thought. That's what made her get quiet. When a woman can't get quiet when y'all are conversing with each other, is because y'all toxic femininities are clashing and you have not hit anything to trigger her from feeling to thinking. You feel what I'm saying? And on our perspective, we're not triggered into thought first. You feel me? We shut the fuck up when we're made to feel. You feel me? We don't shut the fuck up when it's a constant thought because now we battling the thought. When it's like, when the motherfucker make you feel some shit, it's like, oh, we have our little, ooh, we had that moment too. But I don't think we be like, ooh, we just shut the fuck up too. We be like, or we might, okay. You feel me? Like, I was dealing with this, I'll say this on right, but I was dealing with this woman one time and going back and forth. Literally going like, I'm like, why does she want to argue? You know what I mean? But we're going back and forth a little bit. And then she said something. And when she said it, I was like, damn, you right. Nah, see, you just saying that so you can no, I'm really meaning that you're right. And I broke down why she was right. And I said, yeah, because I misinterpreted, blah, blah, blah. She was like, oh, oh, yeah, oh, you were right. Cool. But it's not just because you were right, I'm shutting up. But like what you said, it'll make me look stupid and a fool for this point to continue going against what you said when I've already seen. Oh, yeah, you're right. You feel what I'm saying? But in that same token, femininity can neutralize masculinity. You feel me? The different polarities of it. But toxic feminine, that shit's gonna clash. It's like, I'm telling you, yeah, I ain't gonna do this. See, you gonna, why would you come at me like that? Why would you come at me like that? You feel me? But that's largely the position that we in. Because we're through the integration between the slavery, between all of the interaction that we had over the years, over the centuries, our toxic feminine energy is there. So everything we have to do is built off of that. We have to tap back in. I'm not saying get rid of your toxic feminine energy because it's destructive energy. Sometimes you need that shit. When it's time to destroy, you got to tap into toxic feminine energy. There's nothing wrong with it. But it doesn't necessarily mean and translate that you're going to act like a woman. It means now you're in a space of destroying, not deconstructing, but destruction. You're going to start fucking shit up. Feel me? A lot of what we embody as, the man, is a motherfucker who's really toxic feminine. He can fuck shit up. The ladies' men that we're destructive. The overly, like, he knows how to destroy. Women think that protection and provision is off of how well you can destroy. So when we're coming into that perspective, we're seeing it. Like, she want a man who's gonna protect her and shit. But I'm scared of niggas that are already violent. I can't protect you. You feel me? And I'm only, like I said, I'm saying that because I used to be a violent motherfucker. I hung with a lot of violent motherfuckers. So I understand violence well. You feel me? But I understand how the other people can be scared of it and know that, I don't want no smoke in this. And if being with a black woman means I have to be at this level of protection at all times, no, that's the thing. You don't have to be a barbarian. You got to be a warrior and make everywhere you go a garden. That way you don't have to be toxic feminine because when the warrior got to come out, it come out. Motherfucker, you can plant a motherfucker like a tulip. Nah, I'm bullshitting. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. That's toxic femininity. So go kiss your babies. Well, it's really catty argumentative shit. It fluctuated with that, but the root cause is toxic femininity and leads to catty argumentative shit. So go kiss your babies. Make sure to eat the vegetables. And our sons, we need to master masculinity within ourselves and then understand the dynamic of toxic femininity so we can learn what we're not passing on to our kids. I just seen this video, and if you're on my page, you've seen it, where a little kid got some water poured on his face. He was like, yo, why the fuck y'all always playing, man? What the fuck? He had to be like a good 2-3 years old. But he emulated the behavior. Toxic feminine behavior. The toxic feminine energy is already being established in him. Right there. That response was a toxic feminine because it's like, y'all have destroyed me by pouring the water. Now I'm going to destroy you with my words. You feel me? It only escalates from there. Because the words don't eventually get to a point where sticks and stones don't break bones. Sticks and stones break bones, but words will never hurt you. Right? So teach your sons and get your sons familiar with and comfortable with being able to eliminate responding from a toxic feminine perspective and not tapping into a toxic feminine energy, which means you as an adult have to understand your energies well, Understand which ones are good, which ones are bad, which ones are right, which ones are wrong, which ones you need to be infusing in your child. If you want a masculine son, you can infuse toxic femininity. You have to give him the capacity to analyze and deconstruct. But yeah, go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.